Hello, I'm trying to make sure we're set here. Give me a minute. I think I'm streaming to one place right now. It looks like I'm on YouTube. Trying to get set up for why those aren't working and why Facebook isn't going. Well, we're trying to get there, guys. It's been a while since I have streamed, but trying to get there. Alright, let's try this. Still don't see... Not getting Twitch going. YouTube's going. And I forgot I had to do a few extra things here for... let's see here. Alright, let's try that. Alright, let's try YouTube going live, or Facebook going live. Let's see how that's working. Like I said, I believe I've got a green for YouTube. It looks like we're now hopefully live on Facebook. And I still got to figure out why. Maybe it didn't fully... let's see here. I'm not... It says I'm live on Facebook, but I'm not seeing the comment area. There we go. I think we're good now. Well, other than for some reason still not getting on Twitch isn't coming through. Let's try. Let's go with cutting that. No, that didn't work. Let me go back over. I should have brought the keyboard over here. It is wireless. I didn't even think about just bringing it over here till we can get this going. I was sitting over there doing most everything, so let's see if that'll work. I can't read what it's saying. Let me open this up bigger here. Sorry again, guys, if you're joining us. Trying to get this working. I need to find out why let's see if I can figure out why it's not doing that. Let's see here. That's not answering. There we go, maybe. Let's see here. That figures. Okay, well, that's not telling me anything I want to know. Let's try this. Again, I'm sorry if you're watching and I'm not paying attention. I'm just trying to get all my streams working. Why they're not working, I'm not sure. And I'll be honest with you too, this mouse, I'm so confused with this mouse right now. It's one I used for a while, but I've been using a different one. And it's got a little bit different layout, so. Alright, let's copy that. Okay. Let's try to start. Okay, I think I've got my Twitch working now. Even though I don't have a countdown on it, it says I'm live and I see a picture, so... Alright, well, that only took forever. I guess that's why I'm doing a test stream. I wanted to do it a couple weeks ago, but was having issues, so... Let me make a double check here. What's going on out there? Alright. I think everything's working. Hopefully the audio is coming through. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so I can see my Facebook stuff. Yeah, you can go over here for now. Okay. Now I think we're good. It looks like the only thing I don't see usual is like my stats. That's something that I normally have. It moved over there. I got 4 screens going, so I've got to bring things over to where I'm looking. Stream is live. I don't see my normal stat bar, but all the programs are updated too, so I'm going to assume as of right now everything's good, other than my Facebook. Maybe it's just a little bit delayed. I'm unsure. So right now we're going to go with everything and hope it's good, and maybe I'll come back and check these out here in a little bit. But anyway, I want to thank you all for dropping in. I think I've got everything finally going. I don't even remember what today is. I put a thing in the 21st. Get ready to go on 22nd. Yeah, there's my clock up there with the date on it. Yeah, my last stream was December 7th of 2023. It was right after, I believe, our last show, right before our last show of December, and we were going to take off December, January, and come back, and things just kind of went a little haywire there, starting in 2024, so it's been an interesting time since then, to say the least. If you followed any of my stuff before, you kind of know the basics. It started in January, I think it was 7th or so. My best friend, 30 some odd years, basically since I've been 21, he passed away. And so that was kind of, he had been sick, but I didn't know it was. The last time I kind of really talked with him, a couple weeks before that, said he was doing better and things were going good, and then everything just kind of took a turn for the worse, to say the least. And so that kind of had me down the dumps, and I think it was about 2-3 weeks after that, my wife was going to doing doctor stuff and doing her thing, and they finally looked at a few other issues she was having. She'd kind of brought them up before the last couple of years, but never really looked into them. And finally decided they were going to look into them, and come to find out she had cancer. So we found that out end of January of 23. By I think the first week of February, she was already going in and getting her chemo and stuff done, and so that was a couple times a week. Plus, at the same time, she was in kidney failure, so she was going through dialysis, and so that was no fun. That started up in February, And let's see, it was late March of that same year. In March, maybe it was May. No, March. Yeah, March. I went into the hospital because I was having extreme pains. Come to find out, I had a kidney stone, and it was way too large to pass, I guess. So I had to have surgery for that. Got that taken care of, and I had the post care of that was insane, and trying to find correct doctors, blah 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 blah. Took me almost a month to finally get my catheter out. What a catheter. Yeah, it was a tube that was in there, but yeah. But in doing that, I already knew I had this other problem, and this is why I couldn't donate to my son many years ago when he went into kidney failure, and I had a lump on my kidney. So I knew about this years ago, but things just kept coming up. Forget, put it off, and then 5, 6, 7 years later, it comes up again. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So when they were looking at me and scanning for the kidney stone and doing all that, they were like, you have this thing over here, and I was like, oh yeah, I did forget about that. And, it's been some years now since I last got looked at, and they're like, it's getting a little too large that we shouldn't pass up anything on it anymore. It could be cancerous. It could, right now it looks localized, blah, blah, blah. So, it started dealing with that. And so I had my surgery for that. It was very end of June, because I remember I was still recovering from the surgery by like 4 or 5 days. It was probably like 6, 7 days, maybe. Maybe it was the last day of June, because I remember it was within the first week. July 4th was out, and I just happened to barely crawl out into the back deck and was watching some fireworks that were going off in the neighborhood. So, and then that was not a fun surgery. It took several weeks to get around to being normal again. I would say probably until September, where I was able to kind of lift and do most things again. So that kind of put off most of the beginning of and middle of 2024. Wasn't able to do any shows. I still was doing online orders, so that was good. I do want to thank everybody if you were here and came through and did any ordering from us during those times. I do thank you. So yeah, I had my surgery and got back. It was cancerous. I forget the name of it. They had a big old name. They have it for everything, Luckily, it was localized. All my blood work since has come back good, and nothing showing anything that it has spread into anywhere else. So that was good. And it was shortly, I guess, it was probably around that same time as when my wife finally got done with her chemo and the other thing they do with that, because there's 2 different parts she had to go through. And she got done with that. And for the most part, they said the cancer was gone for her, which was good, but going through all that chemo and everything just took a toll on everything else. She already had so many other problems before that. And so, I'm just kind of getting finally out of my recovery. She's gone into the hospital a few times during all this time of 24, and shortly after my birthday in October of 24, she went in the hospital, and they were going to go in and do a couple procedures after she stayed the weekend, and they had a major issue, I guess, and while they were trying to do the procedure, and they ended up not doing it because of the issue. They had to do some drastic measures. They about lost her then. And it's, for the past couple of years, we've had to kind of talk about the hospice thing for her, because eventually we knew that was going to come. And after that whole incident, just, some more things were coming up, and she decided that it was probably best to go ahead and do the hospice thing. And, she went in for the procedure on a Monday. It was Tuesday night. She was like, maybe I should do the hospice thing. And so she, did the talking and praying and did everything she needed to do on that front. And she decided that was what she needed to do, and I support her in whatever she wanted to do. So and everything that was talked about was like, it's not going to be an immediate thing. you know it could be a couple weeks, it could be a month, or so. And so that's kind of what we all had in our mind and everything. So that was Tuesday night. So Wednesday during the day and everything, that's when she needed to go through and fill out all the paperwork and okay and all this and that. And so it was, I guess, late Wednesday night is when they basically kind of stopped pulling her off her meds and whatnot. And by Thursday morning, she was pretty much not very much coherent. And then by Thursday afternoon, we had to gather everybody. It was, like 30 some odd hours, and thought we had, maybe 20, 30 days. So then my wife passed. So that was late October. And so yeah, after that, we had to deal with all that, and it took to the end of the year to kind of start dealing with everything, getting everything kind of situated on everything after that. And my brain wasn't all there, I'll admit. It's still not all there, to be honest with you. So trying to do what I can. So last year in 2025, we ended up not doing any events either. I did plenty, well, not plenty, but did a lot of sales online again. Thank you all for people who had ordered online. I had been doing most of my sales through Facebook the last year or so because I need to rebuild my website. I've been working on it. I've done it 2.5 different times now, trying to change it up. I have an idea of what I want to do, and I hadn't quite gotten there. And every time I get a little frustrated, it just kind of gets pushed off. So I've been doing all my sales through Facebook. I probably missed some not having the website and everything, but hopefully that'll be coming back around again, like having the live streams, and everything. So it was starting. I thought things were going to kind of start coming together, and then I know you guys, if you've watched any of our streams before, had Buzzard, a big boy. It was late last July, mid-July. Well, I guess it was probably mid-June. He started getting sick. Took him to the vet, and they were talking about, probably some things that were not looking good. So did what we could for him, and got about, it was about another month or so, and then we lost Buzzy. So that wasn't any fun. And it was a couple weeks after that. A good friend of mine, a chain mailer, Tahara. We become friends through chainmail and this and that, and her and my wife became friends, and she helped me redo my tutorials. I had at the time I only had like 2, maybe 3. I'd never done them before, so she'd gotten them and was sending me suggestions, and and we started talking, become friends, and she helped out and gave me a lot of good ideas, and we ended up going through and redoing my first couple tutorials. So it was really great of her to help me do all that. And like I said, her and my wife became friends. Never got to meet her in person, but I think it was August-ish or September. My times have gotten so messed up, it's crazy. She passed away, and it was like within 3 weeks after that, my stepmom, she passed away. I got a call from my half sisters and let me know that I need to call Dad. And so then that kind of just spiraled, into September and through October. Again, brain melting. Just kind of vegging out. So didn't end up doing any events like I said, through the end of the year, and January kind of rolled around, and I started thinking I needed, if I'm going to be doing events, I need to get into doing events. I need to get the website going, I need to get streaming going again. So I've been, the last 2 months or so, I've been doing a lot of stuff, getting things prepared. I've still got a lot of other stuff going on around the house that's driving me nuts, but it is what it is. Oh, hello. I'm sorry I didn't see you. I just now looking around and checking all those things. But trying to get back. Like I said, I've been trying to get the live stream going. It was a couple weeks ago. Tried to get it going. Had a new computer. I just plugged everything up to it. Nothing was taking, so I rewired everything, redid everything. Wasn't quite working. Then I had a malfunction on some other stuff, so I had to put that off to the side for a while. Love you too. And so then I spent most of today, actually. I was trying to actually do an afternoon stream. That didn't work. And I kept just doing different things. Finally got everything working, I believe. It took us a little bit into starting this stream to get it going. Hello, Aaron. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to have you here. So, kind of talked long enough. Just double checking everything. Looks like things are good. I hope everything's good. Hopefully the sound's coming through all right, guys. But I'm just going to go ahead and start working on some of these dog tags. I put them off. I lasered them up Tuesday and put them off till I'm going to take my... hopefully I can get in the camera view here and still see it. Still got a few of these to do, but I printed these up and got these all cut during the week. Get my order all messed up, so yeah, I print these up on big cardstock, cut them out individually, and then come through and punch holes in them, and whatever they're for, if they're for earrings or necklaces or whatever, I got little dots on there that I'm trying to hit. I tried to get most of these done. I still had a little handful when I started doing a count. I was like, I'm a little short, so I'm going to go ahead and do a few more. I'm going to put these aside. I don't know how long we're going to be streaming tonight, so like I said, it was just kind of a quick thing. Sounds good. Sounds good or sound is good. For the band, yeah, these are the band trip. I can flip cameras now. I think, how do I can just do that. I think that'll flip it. We'll see. Hopefully it'll flip. I need to wait for a minute for the stream to catch up. But yeah, dog tags for the band. I can't really get a great picture there, but they're going in May. Yeah, May, end of May. So we're just going to work up on getting these done. They had, I'm still working up some graphics for their, okay, I was like, well, that's still pretty tough there. I use stainless steel rings for these and aluminum for everything else, but sound is good. Okay, well, that's good. I was kind of wondering. It looked like it was good, but I don't know why my background sound left. I don't know what happened to it. I didn't turn it down too far, did I? It kept going in and out and weird, so. I think it might be going again. We'll see what happens. I don't want to have to keep adjusting it, but that was a last minute thing I was trying to add to it, to the stream as I was getting everything else going and all that, so. I didn't open these up yet. Love those. The dog tags, they come out pretty decent. Still working up graphics for, I've got 3 that I like, 1 that I really like, and 2 that I'm not too fond of for senior tumblers this year. So I'm still playing with those. I need to get them wrapped up so I can get those going. But 1 of 63 down. Many to go. Alright, got some rings out here, so get another one of these. And double check everywhere, everything looking good. Still, I'll have to do some readjusting on where I want all my windows and whatnot. Like I said, everything's quite a bit different when I got a new computer. Been a while now. Late summer last year, I guess it was, and still getting used to it. And all the programs need to be updated, and so some of them I hadn't updated in years, so that was taking a little bit of getting used to. Come on, get in there. I like to do, the reason I put the little holes and put the little slice in there so I can put them in there and put them in a bag, but it still keeps them up and not just sitting in the bottom of the bag. I don't know if I need to. It's just kind of a personal thing that I did when I first started doing dog tags years and years ago now. Kind of just stuck with it. Come on. Sometimes they're a little booger to get in the bag, but so like I said, I haven't done any shows here lately, but hopefully this year we're gonna get back into some. You gotta plan these out in a little bit in advance. Wyatt says hi. Hello, Wyatt. How are you doing? Did you all make the parade last week? I know you guys were talking about going, but I know kids get sick, blah, blah, blah. I need to put that together. I figured I'd see some pictures and stuff, but at least all I found were some band pictures, the bands. I was wanting to go myself, but woke up that morning without much sleep. I think that's the biggest problem I've had over the last couple of years is sleeping. It's like last night. If I get a little loopy now, it's because I haven't slept. I think I slept for about 3.5 hours last night. I was going to take a nap today, but then I didn't. So, well, like I said, I want to get the stream going, so that kept me busy. And it's like I'm ready to lay down and take a nap at one point. Just ended up staying up, so I'm tired and loopy, but I wanted to get the stream going. Like I said, I've been working on it, and I'm hoping this will get my motivation back. I think the biggest motivation is going to be, I've been doing plenty of, well, I wouldn't say, Annabelle ended up being sick. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. Been doing chainmail to order whenever I get orders for things that I've made in the past. I haven't sat around and designed anything new, tried anything new that's out there, anything really. I want to, but part of it has been a little weird trying to get past the fact I'm so used to whenever I do anything is going to show the wife, hey, look at this new cool thing, and I did, well, I worked on a couple things at one point, but it weren't really necessarily new, but it was new in size, and pendant that I was working on, and I couldn't, I normally got so used to going to show her, and couldn't go show her, and it was just like, it kind of bummed me out. So hopefully, like I said, I'm trying to get past that, and I'll have my good days, and then I'll have my bad days. That's for sure. I'll be going good, and I'm thinking, okay, things are looking smart, and then something just, what was it? Both the youngest got sick, Starla, and come over and got me and Sean sick. It took us about 4 or 5 days after she had left. It was about 2 or 3 days afterwards. She was like, I'm sick. I might have been sick when I was over there. And then sure enough, Sean ended up getting sick like 3 or 4 days after that. I was about 5 to 7 days later. It was kind of regular sick in a way, but it took us out for about 2 weeks for the full shot of it. Was little insane, really. And we're still got lingering from it, but it pretty much took us out all of February. Because it was right when we started getting sick, too, is when our refrigerator went out. So... had to deal with trying to get the refrigerator and all the freezer stuff, and not losing all the freezer stuff, etc. It was... got a new one finally. Well, got one in time that we didn't lose a whole lot. We lost a little bit, but not a whole lot. But you know, so that didn't help things. So it's one thing after another. But I guess that's life. So. Got many other things we got to get done. Summertime starting up. Got to get out and get yard work done. I hate yard work. I used to kind of like it, but I think it's the leaf work is, I think, what I hate the most. I think I'd like everything else as much, much better if I didn't have to pick up leaves every year. We got so many leaves. We take out so many leaves. It's unbelievable. Just the way our house is positioned and the way we have fences, it's like we collect the neighborhood's leaves. You'll see other people's houses, across the street. Perfectly clean lawns because everything blew across the street and into ours and got stopped by the fence. So, I won't tell her to blame her. My wife for getting everyone sick. She knows. I already told her. She knows she got us all sick. Sean kept saying, "No, I'm not sick. I'm just feeling a little weird." And I'm like, Starla said she's sick. She went and got looked at. That's why we never ended up going to the doctor, because she went to the doctor and nothing came back for anything. It was just some type of bug that it was a pretty gnarly bug, really, for what I'm used to. It was not used to that kind of gnarliness. I mean, it wasn't near like a flu or anything, but just the way it felt. And well, it doesn't help that I have this. You got Gran. Here's, I'll bring him over. They can rake. Yeah. Most of the problem isn't just the raking, it's what to do with them. I get so many. I put them in all the bags that I've got, but I have to wait till the one day a week I can go dump them. So, it takes several weeks because I'll fill up the bags during the week and I have to wait. I normally get quite a few filled up, but then I can squish them down. You gotta wait a few days for that to happen, so it's just a process. Yeah, well, as I was saying, I figured it was the same thing, so everything that she kept saying was pretty much with the same symptoms we kept getting, so it was like, what's the point in going? At the time, though, I didn't have my insurance all figured out. I think I finally got most of it figured out, and that was something the wife always did, was figured it. I did everything else. She just did insurance, because insurance drove me absolutely bonkers. And it totally drove me bonkers again this year. That's why I hadn't done it in 28 years or so. So everything's looking like it's running so much smoother than it used to. I'm only using 2% of CPU. I remember before I used to use a ton of it. Everything's looking green. No drop frame rates. All that's looking good. So that's all good. Now I'll just have to play with... kind of got the layout going here. Haven't really got it fully done. I just kind of threw in things to get back to kind of where I was before. I don't know if I'm going to keep this format. I don't know yet if I'm going to continue and do set days of streaming or not yet. I'm still debating on how I kind of want to set back up. I mean, there are parts of having it the way I did before that I did like, but a lot of things have changed, so I'm just got to figure out what's going to fit and work into everything. Insurance is a wild ride. Yeah. That's why I never liked dealing with it. I know it drove me nuts back there before you all kids were born. And then, once we got married, things got even weirder. And then she just she dealt with it all. It's like, I'll deal with paying and doing everything else, and you just make sure I have insurance. Tell me where I need to go, what I need to do. That's normally how it goes. And I know that might sound weird, and my kids kind of know this, but I have a hard time remembering sometimes to eat. And yesterday and today is another good example of that. I did not eat yesterday very well. And today, actually, yeah, I guess last time I ate would have been, it's 12:30 now. When was that? I think it was when Marble came out at 7. No, was it 5:30? 5:30? Might have been 5:30. But before that, I ate breakfast this morning at like 11. And then at 5:30, maybe it was 7:30. I don't even, like I said, I don't even remember. That was, I forget to eat. I'm always asking the son, remember when I ate last? Remember what I ate when I did last eat? I don't even remember what I ate half the time. I think that's probably the worst thing. I mean, I can tell you what I have before I go to bed every night, because it's normally the same little thing I have, and it's probably the worst thing I can do is eating when I'm going to bed. But when I go to bed, I sit in bed for a good hour before I can even get to sleep. And then, like I said, I can only get I normally wake up about every 2 hours, and then, if I don't go to bed till 3:30, I got to be back up by 7 to start dealing with the cats and getting medicines and all that stuff. So sometimes I'll try to take a nap when I get the first part done, but it doesn't always work. Oh man, you know what? I did all those and I totally forgot to put in the key rings. And I guess at least I hadn't made it super far into it. I'll just have to go put them in there now. I decided this year to have a key ring put in there in case they didn't want to use it, because I know some had said through the years that they liked them, but they're just not necklace wearers. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to throw in a key ring. They can take off the chain and put it on a key ring, put it on the keys, put it on their instrument, put it on a bag. Do whatever they want. Bedtime snack, cereal. Yeah, it just depends, but here lately it's been Lunchable, Lunch Makers, the cheap version. Have one of those, a few little chips, and then I'll sit there and I normally watch at least one episode, which is 40 minutes of some hour show. Right now I'm watching Warehouse 13. Or Chuck or something like that, but I'll normally get one full episode in, so there's at least 40 minutes. I'll get normally about half an episode of another, so I'm sitting in bed for a while, and I try to go to bed without taking anything to eat, and I sit there longer, it seems like. So I got bad habits. I need to break some of them, but it is what it is. Kind of getting old. Alright. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to give them a choice thought about asking them, and I could have made them up how they wanted, but I'm like, you know what, I get these pretty cheap anyway, and we'll just put one in there and they can decide what they want to do with it themselves. Alright, so grab a drink, double check everything. Looks like everything's going good on. The only thing I can't see is the video on YouTube, but it's giving me a green light on the side, so that looks good. I'm headed to bed though. I have to work tomorrow. Alright, well thanks. I'll have to finish that Warehouse 13. It gets a little weird at the end, but I like it. But anyway, okay, well thanks for dropping in. I didn't know if anybody would show up tonight or not, so glad to know it's all working. That was my other big thing, was like, should I ask somebody to come check it out? If they show up, I'll ask, so. You have a good night, and we'll talk to you later. Love you. Who else is, okay. Yeah, so far, I can see the video on Twitch, and it's looking pretty good. And right now, actually, let me, something there, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh well. We'll continue going. And like I said, if anybody's showing up now, it took us a little while. I'm looking at the times. My YouTube started to write up, so it's at 40 minutes. My Twitch stream's at 34, so it took about 6 minutes to get Twitch going. And Facebook was somewhere in between. So, but everything's looking good. Like I said, I'll work on getting my layout back together. I don't know if I'm going to still use this kind of layout or not. If anybody has any suggestions, if you're watching this later, you can still post to it. I'll still get them. I thought about sharing this over on my personal page, but I was like, we're just testing out and farting around, so I didn't want to go all too crazy. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know how long we'll sit here tonight. We're just going to kind of play till I feel like I want to stop playing or take a break or something. You know, time it's 12:30. Keep looking up. Got a big old clock up above me on the wall here. I don't think I had that last time I streamed. I used to use my little one. And my timer. I still got my timer. I need to get batteries into it and start getting back, like I said, into things. I've actually done quite a bit more laser work as of late. Did I do it again? Dang it. Is that the first one I did? Yeah. I'm gonna keep forgetting to do this. So yeah, I'm gonna play around with the layout now that I know that I've got the video sources back the way they're supposed to be and all that. So that's one of the hard things I couldn't get the first time before I ended up running all my wiring. And I took all the cameras down, remounted. Well, before I had my main camera, I call it my ugly face camera. At least that's what it says in my OBS. I've got it set. Used to have it on a tripod. It was really precariously kind of sitting on my table here. But I've done some changing. I've now got it mounted, so it's mounted. Hopefully it doesn't jiggle too much. I was a little worried about it jiggling if I hit the table too much. But I did the same thing with the mic, so they're no longer sitting on the table. They don't move around on me all the time like they used to. And then the overhead one I put on a more of a wall mount. And it can extend out. I can do different things with it if I want. If I decide I want to, if I wheel in my coil maker, it can actually stretch out far enough where it can hang out over the coil maker and look at it and do video. And I put a couple different ball heads on it so I could adjust it around, do different things. So, and the video, or my TV, is now better positioned. I used to have to look through a grid wall to see the other TV over there, and now I don't have that problem, so I can definitely focus a lot better now than what I used to. We'll see more so when I start trying to stream doing chainmail, streaming chainmail, because it's always a little different. I mean, I'm using rings here, but these are just single rings that are one-offs kind of that are easy enough to deal with. I'll probably need some more of these before I'll be done here, but this takes a little bit of time to go through. That's why, you know, they were like, well, you know, laser doesn't take very long. Why do you charge what you charge? And it's like, well, a lot more to it than just, you know, when it comes to anything, you know, you got the price of buying your equipment or your stock, but then the equipment to do what you're going to do with it, all this that you're dealing with, it adds up. Time, money. These I volunteer my time for. Well, these I donate fully just to the band for their trip. I've done this for. No, I started doing this back when my youngest was in high school. She's been out since 18, so I think probably the first year I would have done it would have been 18, 16. I think it was the trip, one of the first trips they went on, I think for sophomore year. I think it was the first year I did dog tags. And then I've been doing them for Tonka. Oh, dang it, again. Ever since, every 2 years or so when they go on a trip. This year's been, well, actually I did it last year, but not for Tonka. Last year I did it for Maple Park, which is their middle school feeder which was my old middle school too. But they were doing a St. Louis trip. Didn't find out about it till, I don't know, it was probably, was it the week? Maybe it was like 10 days before. They had a middle school, or they had a jazz band concert they were doing. They bring in the middle school in to join them for this concert. And I finally, it was one of the few things I was making it out for at the time. And they were saying they were going on this trip to St. Louis and everything. And I was like, you know what, the middle school band, maybe I'll do some dog tags for them. So I got a hold of somebody, and come to find out it was their choir, orchestra, and jazz were all going there. So I didn't want to just do dog tags just for the band kids, but luckily I was like, well, yeah, you know, I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to do it. Found out how many kids were going. I ended up looking at how many black dog tags I had. I ended up having, I think, maybe like 4 extra of enough. So I ended up doing it. I think I did like 60 something. I don't remember now. For that trip, but for all 3 of them. I did it again. I'm going to keep doing this. I know there's going to be some kid that's not going to get a key ring with it because I forgot to put a key ring in there. I need to put them out here. Maybe that'll make me remember. Probably not, but we'll see. Oh, hello. Still here. Sorry I didn't see you over there. I wish I had times on that to let you know when you posted those. But that's my mom over on YouTube. Good to see you. I did have my phone off before I started my stream. Just turned it on and realized I had turned it off at around noon today because the outdoor cat was out there activating the camera left and right, and it was just driving me nuts. So, did I put one in? Yeah. I ended up muting the phone, and so it was sitting over there muted. And I hadn't gotten anything till it was about 11:30. I finally picked up the phone so I could get some music going for the stream and whatnot. And that's when I realized when I went to play music, there was no music. I was like, everything's muted. But yeah, the outdoor cat shows up, goes out through the garage shed out there, and it just keeps activating the camera left and right, and it drives me nuts after a while because it's just the phone's constantly beeping that there's new activation, then the reminder of it. So I ended up muting it. But I planned on sending you a message in the morning. I guess I probably could have tonight. It was kind of late. Quick looks around here, so at least now I know it works on YouTube though too. Hopefully we'll have some of the YouTube people that I've had in the past stop in, and maybe a few Twitchers. I know it was Twitch is she wasn't following me on Twitch, but it was actually following another chainmailer, and that's how I ended up doing the Chiefs inlay flag. He put her in touch with me, and she did Twitch stuff, and that's kind of why I started doing the stream. I did it again. Yeah, I'll send you a message in the morning and figure out. I know Sean needs to get out and get some of his medicines and stuff, so we're going to need to get out at some point. Last couple days, been hot. Been kind of weirdly hot here for Kansas City. This time of the year. Not, I don't mind some heat, but yesterday and today was just kind of all miserable. I don't have the air conditioner ready to be run yet. I haven't done cleaning to start it up for the year, so weren't able to do that. So we've just been dealing with the heat today. Yeah, I'm not even through one stack of these yet. These can take a while when you got so many to do. And then I'll have, I think, 20. Well, let's see, I've had a couple tumblers that I've done over the last couple weeks. But I've got 22 tumblers I'll be doing for the band, for the seniors. They get 3 laser runs, the main cup design on the top part, then they get their name run on the bottom, and then they get their instrument run, or their instrument or their color guard on their cup. So there's 3 separate laser runs. In all reality, I guess there's 4, because I put the instructions and my logo on the bottom, so there's that too. But I did get my new plate. I was hoping to get it before I did these dog tags, but it didn't come in until yesterday. I did it again. A new plate can hold my rotary instead of doing one individually at a time. You can set it up on the laser, where you can set up like 5 or 6 across and do that, and it'll shoot them and do it. But the thing I've noticed is the quality is just a little different when you're not directly straight down under it. And when you spread them out and you do 6 or 8 of them at a time, if you're doing it as a background kind of a look, it's fine, I think. But when you're wanting detail, I feel like it takes away some of the quality. So I like doing them individually. But now I'm going to make up some jigs to hold them and run on the rotary, so I can put in 10, 12, maybe 16, depending on how big I can make it, and let it run all those at once and not have to sit there and do each one individually, which is kind of time consuming a bit, but should help. And then the next step is going to be something I've never done on my fiber lasers, done tumblers. I normally use my diode on my CO2 laser. And it's a little time consuming because it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But with this plate, that was one reason I never was able to use the rotary and try anything on the fiber laser. So I got that. That'll be testing I'm going to be doing Tuesday. I'll be fiber testing Tuesday. And because if I can get tumblers done on the fiber laser, I can do tumblers a lot faster than I normally do. Normally, a normal tumbler with just the upper cup run normally is about a 45-minute process. Let's say 35 to 50 minutes, depending on which laser I'm using, and depending on the cup color. Each color is a little different, you know. Sometimes I slow down, sometimes you can speed up. CO2 is a little faster than my diode, so I mean, but sometimes you just use the diodes, just easier to work with sometimes, even though it takes longer per cup. So, you know, it all just kind of depends and plays around, but if I do things in the fiber, they're a lot quicker. But yeah, I like to use my small lens, and they say if you use small lens, it's better for cutting. But again, when I use the big one, I don't need to use all that space out there because of the way the head works and everything. You know, normally have a gantry with your CO2 and your CO2 or your diode laser. It's on a gantry, so the laser is always pointing straight down right at it, and that's where it does it. On the fiber laser, it's got a head in there that moves back and forth through the lens. So there's nothing other than that moving in there. And you can just kind of, it's a little different animal. So I'd played around with it, and I've done some things, and I don't know, I just found that I liked it best if I just do it more singular and not have, you know, any of the, I don't even want to call it shadowing. It was just a little weird. And it looked good most times. You know, when I first got it, and I was showing the wife at the time, and I showed a few other people, I was like, can you see the difference between these? And most of them, they're like, there's a slight difference, but not in a bad way. They were just like, yeah, there's a slight difference, but nothing, again, nothing in bad. It's just like they're different, but good. I mean, and so, but again, me personally, I know why it's doing it and why they looked a little different, and so that's just one of the things. It might take me a little longer to do some things, but I'd much rather take the time and like it better. So, what time are we looking at here? 12:40. You still got a little bit before I need to put you up. So, I've only been streaming for 55 minutes or so. Well, the first attempt was 55 minutes ago. 49 minutes ago to get them all running, because I guess Twitter or Twitch was my last got it going. Everything still looks green there. So, I mean, we were running Google Fiber then, but the computer, my new computer's a lot better now. So, hopefully, maybe that's what's making the difference. There are some things that it seems like this thing runs a little slower on, but other things it's just so much faster on. I will say video, when I'm processing video from doing band videos, has been a way tons faster. So I wasn't sure how that would work out for the stream, but weird thing is I'm not using a bigger graphics card. I'm actually using the same graphics card I had before. And just my CPU's a bit better. Much more RAM too, I guess. Back before RAM Apocalypse happened. Ramageddon, or whatever they call it. I was half tempted. I was telling the son, probably about a month or so ago, once I was seeing some of the prices. I bought my RAM. At the time, I bought, it was two sticks in a package for 30. It was 32 gigabytes on 2 sticks. And they were $83, and I bought 2 packages of those, so I had 4 sticks, so I had 64 gigabytes of RAM. And I went and looked, and the same RAM, this is about a month ago or so ago now, same RAM was running like $400 and some odd. I was like, that's insane. I was like, maybe I should just go back to using my old computer and part out this new one, because the prices have gotten all kinds of jacked. So I actually was trying to help my daughter look for a desktop, and not seeing any of this so far. And just the prices are so crazy out there anymore. It's like, I don't know if it's worth waiting or it's just going to get worse or what. I'm glad I ended up building mine when I did, before the wackadoo happened. The only thing that kind of blows now is the hard drive. Hard drive prices have kind of gone up. I got one that's kind of going out on me. Well, I thought it had completely gone out, but I think it was the external case that it was in that was giving me the problems, because I moved it and it seemed to be working better. But when I was looking at the prices for those, and I was just like, because I mean, I've got two, those are 12 terabytes, two 12 terabytes that I bought. It's been a few years back now, but I got them, and it was a good sale, I will admit that. So, I mean, a lot of my things, when I get them, normally it's because it's a great sale, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, what was I just saying? Like the GPUs, I bought those years ago, and I got them at the time. I got it again on a good sale. Yeah, I'm trying to. Everything was always normally, Sometimes I do have to wait for those sales, though. I remember last time I bought my last big Canon picture camera. I waited about 2.5 years before, it might not be the greatest, newest model, but it finally got to the price that I was willing to pay for it and save for, obviously, because I don't like doing credit. I'm getting tired. 12:50. I gotta. We still got a little bit. I got till about 1:30 at the latest before she's got to go back up. We got 2 cats now. from the horde we used to have. They're all old. I mean, our youngest cat in this house right now is Cuteness, and she is, what do we figure at 13? I think she's 13 this year. Big old marble girl over there. Hey, baby. Well, she can't hear me anymore. She, over the past year, she's kind of, you have to get really loud if you want her to hear you, because she's kind of going deaf. So she's gotten a lot more visual cueage. But yeah, over the end of the summer last year, I started noticing she wasn't coming when I call her as often. And I started noticing when she'd be sitting there, you know how a cat's their ears satellite around and stuff. Her satelliting ears they weren't turning around. They weren't listening to things from behind or in front of her. They were just kind of sitting there, and that's when I started noticing. I was like, I think she's losing her hearing. And slowly over time, you know, like I said, if you're close enough to her and you talk a little bit louder, she can kind of hear you, I think. But most time, if you're just walking through, making normal noise, she won't hear you, and it kind of startles her at times. But I think she's getting a little more used to it. But I think we tried to figure it out. I think she's 17, maybe even 18. We're not quite sure. Okay. Can't remember what year we actually brought her in. Yeah, and she was at least a year, if not older, than Buzz. And you know, he was 16, so she's 17 or 18. She's got daily medicine she has to take, but she's my big old girl. She was about 3 years ago now. She got sick and didn't want to eat. Took her to the vet. The vets are like, we don't see nothing. They don't know what they should suggest. They're like, we don't see what we can do. And so we ended up taking her to another vet, an emergency vet, because the other ones were just not seeing anything. And they were like, yeah, and they were in some more tests, and they're basically coming out with the same thing. They're not seeing anything that's causing any kind of issues with what she's doing. But the emergency vet, they were like, you know, if you got your only real option here is put her down, and we can go a little kind of a crazy route. We can try to go and do some antibiotics, and we're going to go on the crazy side of the antibiotics. They were going to do a double run, something they normally don't do. And since she wasn't eating for 7 days, we had to take her back and forth between emergency vet, because they would watch her at night, and our normal vet would only watch her during the day, and she had to be on an IV constantly. So it was every day back and forth from the vet back to the other vet. And when that's kind of how it first started, was our normal vets were like, we can't watch her overnight. She's sick. She needs to be somewhere else. So we found the emergency vet. They were willing to watch overnight, but didn't do it during the day. And then that's why they were like, well, if they're trying this and they're not getting anything, well, we can try this. And, it's not something we typically do. We'll give it a try, see what happens. And I think she was on day 6 when she finally kind of started eating again. Numbers started coming back up. Not sure what it was. She came home and started seeming like she was doing pretty good. And then it was about 2 months later, she kind of started going through this phase again where she didn't want to eat. And I'm like, no, I can't do this again. And took her back to the vet. They did some more things. They found out it was a hyperthyroidism. I think it was I think it was hyperthyroidism. And that was causing some issues with her eating and everything. I don't know exactly why or whatnot, but they put her on some medicine. That's her daily pills she takes twice a day, and it seemed to help. And she's still, at first it was like about every 2 months she would go through a cycle where for about a day and a half, 2 days, there was just, she wouldn't really want to eat. Oops. And never. I still don't necessarily know why. If it's just, right now though, it seems like it's about every 3 month cycle, 2.5 3 months. There'll be just a couple days that she'll just she'll not want to eat. I think it's part of it. She'll hack up a hairball or throw up some food she wasn't feeling, and after that she just I get the same feeling. I mean, if I'm not throwing up or whatnot and not feeling all that great, I don't want to eat more either. But you can't let a cat go for 24 36 hours without eating, or and that was her thing when she first went that first time, was she hadn't eaten. And even her favorite thing is tuna. You pull out tuna, she will go nuts for tuna, and she wasn't even doing tuna, and that's when I got concerned. And it was a good thing we took her that night. Actually, we took her to another emergency vet because it was a Sunday night. And I was like, okay, she didn't eat this morning, she's not eating now, and she got real lethargic, didn't want to get up and do anything. Couldn't get her to move for tuna, so it was like, she gotta go. And they took her that night. Couldn't find nothing, and so the next morning they gave her some IVs and stuff like that. So the next morning is when we took her to our normal vet, start testing. They couldn't find anything out, but since they suggested we keep her on an IV, but they don't do overnight visits, so then we had to go find another vet that could do the overnight thing, and it's crazy. But she's my big old girl, and she kicks it. They all said, she's got her tortie attitude since she's a tortoise style, but I've never seen the tortie come out of her around me. She's always been, she's got some attitude at times, but I wouldn't consider what I've seen in other tortoises. But I guess she turns into her tortie self at the vet. So let's see here. We're at almost 1 o'clock. We've been streaming for about an hour. Things are still looking good, though. Hopefully I've been in camera view. I haven't really been paying that much attention to where I'm at. It's been a few years, so it's not something I've had to kind of think about for a while. Put that on first, Johnny. The light's kind of confusing me. I try to find, I still play with my lighting. I don't know what I was doing last time, because it seems like, I think it's my beard just helps, drowns everything out, I guess. I tried doing some adjusting to the camera view at one point before I started the stream. I was like, well, right now I'm more just want to make sure that these streams going to work, not if the stream's got good lighting. I guess I just wanted sound and video to look decent enough and work. Then I can work with, because when I turned off the overhead light above me, it really made it, I think, a little worse. And I think I just need to maybe put some type of a guard right there, and I think would stop the over. I think it's just too much right there. So I would try to print up maybe a 3D printed little guard or something that hangs down a couple inches there, but my 3D printer's actually out right now. Yeah, it's not going to be in view on my camera. It's back across the room over there. It's kind of pulled apart right now because it's got some major parts that it needs, and you can't buy the parts regularly locally, or not even in the US. You have to order them from Creality, unfortunately. And yeah, not cheap parts, and shipping is insanity, and they can give me no idea of when it might ship. So I've been without my printer for about a week now. It's been down longer than that. It's been a week that I've been dealing with when am I going to get the parts, because it had just ran out of its warranty by like 2.5 weeks. February 10th is my warranty date, and it was February, I want to say 28th. It was because I got sick. It was starting to act up when we got sick in early February. And so I was still printing stuff up. I'd come down, I'd start up the print, do its thing, and go do my thing. And so I wasn't here all the time to hear all the little things that were going on, I guess. I was hearing some little things when I started up, but I wasn't sticking around long enough to hear it. But then I'd hear it more and more, and I knew something was going on. But I just wasn't feeling good enough to get into it. And once I fully got sick, I didn't print anything up for about 2 weeks. So it wasn't until, I think I want to say it was like the 28th or 20, maybe a day or two before the end of the month. So it was 27th, 28th, like that, of February, when I turned back on the printer. Went to print, and everything was locking up, and I'm like, oh, great. So I start kind of getting into it, taking some pictures, getting with technical support to figure out what's wrong with it, not realizing that my warranty was up. And they're like, yeah, here's the problem. This is the part you need. I'm like, okay, great. What are we going to do here? And then they're like, okay, give me your number, your not social security number, but your part number and everything to your serial number to your machine. Yeah, take a picture of that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're out of warranty. And it's like, oh, great. So, okay, what about these parts? Can't seem to find them anywhere. And they're like, oh, yeah, we don't have them out for sale. But we can set you up a special invoice if you want to get them from here. But we cannot tell you when they'll be available. But here's the price, and it's $30 for shipping for each item. And I need that X-axis assembly, and that's the part of my motor and my tensioner had gone out. And I went ahead and got the Y-axis assembly. It's still working, but while I was in there and I was looking at things, I'm starting to see a little bit of what looks like could be the starts of the tensioner going out. And I'm like, well, if I can take care of it beforehand, maybe I won't lose the motor. But again, you can't buy just a motor, you can't buy just a tensioner, you can't buy just a spring, you can't buy just a pulley. You gotta buy this whole assembly part. About like this whole printer. When it's working good, it works great. But the tinkering is almost worse than tinkering with the old ones. I kind of miss the old tinkering days, because at least with those, they would work. Well, you had to tinker a lot, but then they would work. But easy enough to work on. A pulley goes out, easy enough. Let's get in there. A wheel goes out, easy enough. Get in there, pull it. I don't know. A stepper motor goes out, easy enough. Just get in there, replace the stepper motor. This thing, everything's tied to so much other. When I figured it up, I have, during my warranty period, I had to have, 5 fans replaced, two hot ends, that little board above on the printer head. What else did I? I had 2 motors to the CFS had to be replaced. I figured it up. It's about $250, almost $300 worth of parts that they replaced for free. I also replaced probably about another 200 in parts on my own, because along with the 5 fans they replaced, I replaced the fan 3 other times. Fans on these things are horrid. Fan that came with my machine actually, when the fan was intermittently working. So come to find out, blah blah blah, work it out, pull the fan out. I started looking at it, it's like, this fan haven't been used, why is it going out? So I've messed with DC motors enough throughout my life. I've raced RC cars, blah blah blah. So I pulled the motor, kind of pulled the sticker off, wanted to get in there. You could see right away that it wasn't even soldered. One of the, I think it was the red wire. There's 3 wires. I think it was the red wire. Wasn't even soldered to the thing. It looked like it was a cold solder joint. You can see where it broke. It kind of pulled off from the thing. Probably just got spun up a few times and just kind of broke off from a cold solder joint. It's too small and too far in there that I could get in to try to replace it, repair it. I don't have the right equipment for that kind of thing. So, but anyway, this thing's got at least $500, maybe $600 worth of replacement parts on it since I've gotten it in the year. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, I know I've had to replace things on my other printers throughout the years, but the amount of time it takes to replace on this thing is insane. The prices, and then even just having the parts. I mean, that was the first thing that I got. Actually, the first thing that broke was the Bowden tube holder on the top of the print head. Popped out within the first week, and on the old printers you had your PTFE tube pneumatic thing. I don't know exactly what they're called. I probably got 50 of them. They got the little metal clips on the inside, and you have to push down to pull out the tube. And little metal clips broke, but you can't replace just that little pneumatic fitting. It's molded into the plastic housing of the filament feeder, and so it's, instead of, in all reality, the most would be $1 part cheaper if you got them like I bought them in bulk through the years. And I've got plenty on hand, but no, it's got to be some kind of piece that's just them. So instead of that, you have to buy this $15 cover. And at first, they didn't even have those available, so after printing for a week, I had to wait 2.5 weeks to finally get that in, and it broke again. And by then they had it so I could buy them locally, well, online in the States. And so I just bought another one, and I found a hack or a print you could do that helps save that. So when the next time it happens, you don't have to replace the whole thing. And I replaced it and did that, and I've been running basically a year with that hack on there and haven't had any problem. So I don't know. It's either I got the lemoniest printer, or this thing is just. Now, granted, I've put a ton of hours on that thing. I'll say that. I mean, somewhere I guess you can tell on the software how many hours you've printed on it. I haven't been able to turn mine on to determine how many hours are on it. In the software and on their program or whatever, I know I've done 1,900 plus prints. But sometimes, there might be a 5-minute print, a 20-minute print. And most times I'm looking at 2-3 hour prints. So, I mean, I printed a lot, I will say that. But it's been driving me nuts, and I think more so just for the fact that I've been I actually use it more than I realized on normal things. I've got like 15 things I need to print because it's been down for so long now. Just some things I needed to replace. There's a few things that have broke. Weird enough, and I'm almost this close to pulling out my old printers. They're kind of put up. They would need a lot of tinkering to get back to use. They've been used, and now the one hadn't been used in 2 years, the other one a year. They're slow. Can't do too many filaments with it, but this thing's just drive me nuts. Alright, let's see, we're 110. I think we're probably going to go ahead and call the stream good. I think we've been at it for an hour, a little over, between them all at least, it looks like. So I wanted to give it a good test that way, and I think it's good. So I do, again, want to thank everybody that did stop in. I know my kids dropped in, a couple of them, and Mom stopped by. I think everybody was probably surprised to see the stream pop up tonight, since I've been a couple of years. If you made it through the whole stream, I do thank you again. And I thank everybody again through the past 2 years that's been around for everything we've been going through here, and still making orders. Like I said, I haven't really produced anything new-ish. Just old standard weaves. I get an order, I'll get in and I'll pump that out, but I haven't really gotten anything new. But hopefully that'll change. I was hoping this stream will actually give me a little more motivation to get some things going. I forgot I gotta remember to flip around things here. So we'll go back over and get the main screen back on Ugly Face Cam. as well, like I said, what I called it on here. But we'll go ahead and close it up for tonight. Like I said, I'm not not yet anyway. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. If we're gonna go with standard days that we might stream, and standard times, or we'll just kind of play it by ear whenever I start getting some time, and I'll be like, but I'll put out an announcement. I think I've seen that you can put out announcements now, and let them know, or let everybody know that you're going to be streaming later or whatnot. So I'll be looking at that. Like I said, this is just a test stream tonight to see how things were going. I wanted to test things out, make sure everything was going good. That part's looking good, so I'll try to reformat my screens a little bit better. And hopefully, at least right now, we'll kind of go with at least once a week, hopefully doing a little bit of this or that. Maybe a little more, kind of, if I feel like I've got something going on, want to kind of play around, we'll throw something out. But until maybe we'll start going. I don't know if we want to do one night a week, twice a week or something. I don't want to go too fast to start with, and whatnot. So, anyway, I can ramble on. I thank y'all again. Thanks for dropping in. If you watched all this video, again, thank y'all. Appreciate you all. And like I said, if you got anything you need to order, it's kind of chainmail and or laser, just drop me a Facebook message or send me an email. Hopefully I'll have my website back up. I'm really going to try to be pushing on that next couple weeks. I might end up going back to more of what it looked like before with some little tweaks, but I still have hopes that I can get one other thing working, and we're going to see what happens. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and close it up for tonight. You all have a great night. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll check you out later. Peace. Maybe. How do I shut down the others? Okay, yeah, we're going to have to change that up. So I think I'm kind of still here on YouTube and Twitch, but my Facebook is closed down. But I'm not sure where... Alright, let's try to go back to full screen this thing. Because there was a... Oh, there it is. Stop all. Okay. Now I think I've got it. So you